All right, here we go. I'm back, baby! Alrighty, YouTube, welcome back. I'm pleased to say we are actually going to get some things done in today's video. I went over in the last video the carnage that happened to the poor 400 out of Farmy here, and I'm pleased to say I have some good news for you now. Since then, I have sent my crank out to the machine shop. It's completely redone and it's good to go. They ended up taking 20 thou out of my main bearings and 10 thou out of the throws, and I have new main bearings, new rod bearings, as well as new piston rings to go with it. As well as piston rings, I also borrowed a ball hone off of work because this 400 really needs to be bored out, but I do not have the money for it. Now, I have done some work off camera as well. I have done a little bit of honing on most of the cylinders. I think just these two are left. Some guys get real picky over what you use to lubricate your ball hone with. I use WD-40 because it's cheap and available. This works good, it's fast, it's simple. For an initial honing at least, that's really all we gotta do. Kind of hard to show this on camera, but there you go. We got some nice crosshatch going on in there versus this one's all nice and shiny. I'm just gonna get the initial hone done on all these and I'm gonna go for more of a thorough finish. I'm actually rather surprised how consistent I'm able to keep this across all these. Okay, we're gonna go to town and just do a bit of a longer pass through all of them, and I think that's all I really wanna do. Alrighty, looking pretty consistent across the board. I think she's good to go. Cleanup after honing without a parts washer is always the worst though. Okay, I'm gonna do a bit of cleanup here and then we can start assembly on this thing. Okay, the block is freshly honed. I cleaned off most of the surfaces and I kind of coated everything with WD-40 so it's not gonna just sit here and rust while we're waiting to do everything. So here is the crankshaft. The main bearings got eaten alive and I had to get them ground about 20 thou over. The rods, because it spun number 7, had to get all the rods ground down as well, or the throws, and they were only taken down 10. When you do that, you have to change your bearings. Because this was ground, there's now gonna be 20 and 10 thou respectively more space in each bore, so they have to be slightly thicker, which is known as oversized bearings, to accommodate for how much material you ground out. So in the case of our rod bearings, for example, they're stamped .010, telling you that this is a 10 thou oversized bearing to match the rod journals. Okay, let's get the top halves of the mains chucked in here. There we go. I'm gonna go through and do some plastic gauge on at least one of the mains and one of the rod bearings as well, just to verify it's gonna be good. I'd like to hope that the machine shop did a well enough job that I don't have to worry about doing this, but just for my own sanity, we're going to. I don't want this totally gummed up with assembly lube, but I also don't want to do this dry, so we're gonna do just a very light coat of oil. Very, very light coat of oil. Freshly ground crank can get dropped in here very carefully. Nicely done. I just went through and cleaned all of my main caps so we can put the bearings in that. Okay, number 1, number 2. Now we can drop a tiny piece of this on our middle main bearing. Very carefully along the edge of that there. Let's make sure that's not gonna move on me. I just had the temptation to turn the crank. And I keep telling myself, don't turn the crank. Let's see if these main bearings want to cooperate on the way off. There we go. Okay, the middle one I want to be very careful. There we go. Oh yeah, look at that. Let's show you guys a close-up of our plastic gauge. You can kind of make out that little splotch in the middle there. Actually, wow, that's really tight. We're between 1 and 2 thou. It's looking closer to 2 thou. Maybe? She's mint. Let's put this together for good. See ya. We're good to put the crank in. On the rear main bearing specifically, because it's a 2-piece, there's a little bit of a parting line in here. I'm just gonna fill that with a little bit of anaerobic sealant so that we have some hope it's actually gonna make a seal. Okay, there we go. Crankshaft installed. Okay, we have movement. Do we have... Okay, we have crank end play. That is very important. It's not moving much. It's moving like thousandths of an inch, but you can still hear it, which is cool. Okay, crank is in. We are going to move on to plastic gauging at least 2 of my pistons. I just want to compare that the rod that was resized is going to be close enough to what the original ones were so that we can just run it and make it all work. Yeehaw! Okay, there we go. Wait, we need plastic gauge. This might not work perfectly, but whatever.
Get out! There we go, HAULS.
This is coming out right around. Yeah, it's also about 1.5 thou, which is kind of tight. See how that compares to the rod that I didn't get machined. Holy shit, that was terrifying. Actually, it's about the same. Yeah, about 1.5. We got 2 pistons! Now that we have 7 and 8 permanently installed, we have plastic gauged them, we have confirmed they're good, I'm gonna go rinse and repeat the entire process for 1 through 6, and I'm gonna come back when we're done. Okay, there we go. We got the rest of the rods and pistons installed. Everything's torqued up on the bottom end. I wanna get the cam installed, we get the timing chain on, and then from there, we can go on to the top end. But yeah, I've confirmed all of my rods have wiggle. I've confirmed the crank still has end play in its current state. And the new rings are working wonders because it is nice and tight. I may as well just jam the cam in the hole. The cam that I'm going to be using in this small block 400 is not an Iski cam. This is the box that my 4-cylinder cam came in, which funnily enough is actually a lot larger than the one I'm going to be putting in the 400. This is just a cheap replacement cam off of Rock Auto, and the specs are just a little bit above a stock cam. Hope is that this engine will make about 300 horse with this setup, but we will have to find out because I do actually plan on putting this truck on a dyno eventually. Okay, I thought I had some proper Molly high pressure grease, but I don't, so we're just gonna have to go with assembly lube and call it good. This cam was already run multiple times, so it should be broken in enough to not require that, and I'm gonna be running a high zinc content break-in oil as well, so this assembly lube should do just fine. Okay, the cam is good and lubed. Let's go try to get it in the block without hurting anything. I don't have a cam installation tool, but I have an idea. It's got a deep socket, big long extension. So we have the crank pointed straight up. Just stick our chain on the crank and line her up to the pin. Okay, cam bolts. Next step for me would be to put the timing cover on and the oil pan, but the oil pan and timing cover both need to be cleaned right now and I don't have the patience for it, so I'm probably gonna do that off camera. What we can do, however, is put the top end together, as long as I have gaskets. Pow, there we go, brand new head gaskets. We put them in the orientation they're supposed to go. Whew. Man, I wish I could afford aluminum cylinder heads. These things are hefty. For anyone wondering, these are a set of 920 Chevy cylinder heads. I believe they're 72 era smog heads for a 350. I have drilled holes for the steam ports on the 400, so they can never be used on a 350 again, but they will work just fine for this 400. Here we go. 1, 2. So it's up. And not that the engine is gonna be making enough power to use them, but my dad picked up a set of heads with just upgraded ARP head bolts, so we may as well use them. Figure, why not? All right, all my head bolts are clean. Let's get these bad boys threaded in. Oh, wait a second, I'm missing a very important step. We need a little bit of thread sealant on these bad boys. Thread sealer, bolt. Starting from the middle, going all the way out in a circular pattern. There is head number 1, torqued. Okay, we got one more left to do. There There we go. Okay, I forgot to record it, but I had a little bit of a change of plans after I put the heads on. I realized it'll be better to put the covers on the bottom and flip it over and just be done with it. I ended up getting the timing cover cleaned and installed, the oil pan gasket I'm reusing because it's in decent enough shape, and then the oil pump, which I actually almost forgot, and I realized in the middle of recording a TikTok that it wasn't there. So oil pump's on, gasket's there, the pan is all clean. We just need a light bead of silicone around it. We can slap this on and call it good. This is just a very thin coat of silicone. Oil filter, we need some oil. I always do my oil filters by hand, so I know I can get them off after. They really don't need to be any tighter. Flip this behemoth over. Oh boy. Come on. There we go. Engine's flipped over. We can stick the lifters in and their push rods, and we'll go through and do a little bit of a shitbox valve train setup as well. Nothing crazy, just spinning the engine over, doing the old twist push rod method. Calling it good. It doesn't really matter what order we put these in, but I will wipe them off and put some assembly lube on them and call it good. I'm gonna redo this process because I got a few too many beers in me the first time. I already did cylinder 1, rolled it over, and they stayed where they're supposed to be. It's gonna go through the firing order, so it'll be 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. And then we'll be good with that. That should be all of them. I think we're good to go. We may as well get the intake on here. Intake I'm using, I don't know if I ever mentioned it, it's just an Edelbrock Torker. Just your standard single plane. It'll do fine. Just a very light, skinny boy. Alright, let us drop it like it's hot. Carefully as we can. Okay, let's go do the valve covers. There are the valve covers. Now that everything's all assembled, thinking about it now, I probably should have done this step before I put all the valve covers on and whatnot. We're gonna make sure she's got oil pressure. We'll stick some oil in her and see how she does. I'm gonna be using Lucas 30 weight break-in oil, mainly for the high zinc content. Damn. New oil is literally the worst thing in the universe to try and read on a dipstick. Ooh-wee, we pumped a full quart through that son of a bitch. Glug glug, bitch! Alright, let's slap this puppy together and see if we can get it in. Alright, transmission. And just like that. Alright, transmission's installed. Just inspecting to make sure we have clearance, which we have absolute loads of. Make sure we have crankshaft end play. Okay, I can see it moving. I think we're good. Engine and transmission are put together. That actually wasn't so bad. I have confirmed that we have crankshaft end play. We have clearance to the bearing this time, so that pressure plate will work wonderfully. What do you say we take this whole lump and stick it back in the truck for hopefully the last time for a while? Okay, it's kind of sitting where it needs to be. I'm gonna mock up the motor mounts and the plates, and I'll come back once those are in and we can get the transmission going. I got the motor mount bolts in, they're tight. I have a bottle jack under the transmission so we can take the hoist off and it'll be semi-installed for hopefully the last time for the third time. Okay, I haven't really been recording any of it, but I've been rolling around on the floor for the past couple of hours. I got the exhaust bolted on completely, collectors and everything. That was a bit of a mess. Some stuff shifted and I was just swearing at it forever. Drive shaft is in, transmission cross member's in, all that stuff is good to go. The last piece I need to do is bleed the clutch, and then we can put Farmy back on the ground and get to the front of the engine. Okay, everything is hooked back up. We got a battery hooked up. The distributor's dropped in. I have spark plug 1 going to where it is so that we can set base timing all over again. There is one thing I want to check as well, and that's cranking oil pressure. What do we got? Oh yeah, 55. That's pretty damn good. It's like way down there. Holy. Figures I have the confidence to put it all on and I'm a tooth off. I suppose I could do that too. Almost. There's the 12 I wanted. Okay, now that we're in time, I'm gonna button up all the accessories on the front. We're gonna get the steering shaft in. Okay, I didn't mean to go this in depth. I kind of skipped a lot of steps, but the rad support ended up getting bolted on. I got the fender on as well. The EFI is hooked up. It's in time, all the wires, everything. I have the fan hooked up as well, so this thing is basically ready for its first start again. I'm just gonna have to baby it for the first little while, but we can still run it and make sure the clutch and everything works, and then it's not gonna blow up. Just gotta make sure the fuel pump is fuel pumping. It's the coolest thing.
It's such a satisfying thing.
God, that sounds awesome. It is purging the air out of the lines too, but
Ready?
yeah, I guess. More ready than ever. All right, here we go. Well, that was a big success. The 400 runs, there's no weird noises. I managed to do just a quick little lap around my cul-de-sac here. It's sit overnight. I don't see anything leaking out of it. I did fire it up again. I don't hear any weird noises. There's some finishing touches we have to do here to make this look like a truck again. And one of those finishing touches is an air cleaner. Now, I picked this up at a local swap meet. This is a chrome drop base. That's like just touching spark plug wire number 8. Probably just a cheap filter, but I got it with the base. It's clean. That's a win. The big piece though is this filter lid. This is a K&N filter lid that I picked up used at a swap meet. Obviously it's a little beat up and dirty, needs a clean. This is a very important piece for something that I'm going to be adding to the truck later. Covers the EFI, so it makes it look kind of stealthy under here, but if you watch Motor Trend's video on air filters for small block Chevys, this setup is the highest flowing you can possibly get. Again, like I say, there's something I'm going to put on that will utilize this lid beautifully. Okay, I took Fiery for some short drives yesterday just to kind of get a feel for it, and it seems to be doing pretty good. Now, I haven't really laid into the throttle or anything, so what do you say we take this for a drive and end off this video? Okay, it's dead cold, so I'm gonna be curious how long it takes to heat up, how much it'll heat up on a drive, and if it's gonna overheat. I guess we'll find out. Cold start. Good oil pressure, that's a win. The clutch feels normal, which is a big win. This thing needs an alignment really bad. But I think it's okay. Right at 104 degrees. The gearing's going to be a little weird to get used to, but let's see. Yeah. I have no idea how fast I'm going. No noise is coming out of the engine yet. God, I could probably start this thing in second gear. Let's give it some gas. Holy shit. Okay, that's got some power. God, that's like a quarter throttle and we're already hauling ass. Temp's coming up to 183. We're cruising. It was around this point on the first drive where I realized that something was very wrong. And even fourth gear's got torque. Holy! Temp's at 203, going onto the highway. So let's give this thing the gas. We're in second gear, going 30k an hour. It's probably just gonna spin. but the 246 degrees is concerning. I guess the good thing I can say about that is nothing is going crazy in here. Like, my overflow bottle isn't boiling over. There's nothing leaking. Yeah, 240, shit, she gets hot, man. Well, we are definitely gonna be needing an upgraded radiator and better fans, that's for damn sure. Anyways, very successful first test drive after rebuilding the 400 again. This thing makes way too much power for its own good, maybe torque. And the rear suspension is awful. That wheel hop is brutal, so we're gonna have to try to figure something out there. I'm gonna call that a huge win. We got the engine rebuilt. We went and beat on it probably a little more than we should for a new engine, but she runs, it sounds awesome, it's kind of loud. I'm beyond happy. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the rebuild of that and me slapping this piece of garbage together for like the third or fourth time. I have a lot of stuff planned for it. Jegs has sent me some stuff that I have to get to that I haven't been able to get to due to the whole life situation and the truck blowing up. This is the truck that I have to test the stuff they sent me. So I have a lot of stuff planned and I hope you guys stay tuned and you come back for more. Thanks for watching. Wait, one more thing. I'm back, baby! See ya.